Next step is you will need to pull this roof up about 6 inches. Right now it's a flat surface and we need to pull it up. So we're going to take the push-pull tool, we're going to mouse over the surface, click, drag up, don't click again, type in 6 inches. Okay, there's 6 inches. So now we have some thickness on our roof, right? Okay, so we've got a flat roof here, but we want to do an open gable roof. So what that means is we're just going to have to indicate where our peak, the roof peak is where it is at the top. And in this case, because it's an L shape, I'm going to have some valleys in here too. I'm going to take my pencil tool. I'm going to have my open gable on this side and on this side. I could make one here too, where this is going to come across, but I have a chimney here. So this side is going to end up being a hip. I'm going to go from one edge and I'm going to mouse along until I get to the cyan or the midpoint. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to drag, letting that snap to the red. And I'm going to go all the way to the other side there. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the opposite gable. Don't click here. Just drag your pencil down until you get that cyan midpoint. I'm going to click now and I'm going to drag on the green so I know that I'm perpendicular, but I'm not going to drag across. I want to stop this line right at the line. SketchUp doesn't like it when you just draw across. If you have to do something like this, you would just click and start again. So now I've got, this is going to be one peak going this way, and this is going to be the other peak. Because this side is not going to be an open gable, it's going to be a hip roof. So I've got to kind of make a line from this point over into the corner. And I'm just going to zoom in there and make sure that I'm not down here, but I'm up here. So let's click that. And then we're going to have a valley here because these two sides are going to go up. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to go into the corner there. Now, if I tried to pull this up right now, this would get in the way. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to select the lines where the peak of the roof is going to be. And then I'm going to take the move tool. I'm going to mouse over it and I'm going to click and start to pull up and watch what happens. Now I have this sort of weird line right here that I don't want. I don't want that line there. So I'm going to undo and I'm going to erase that line because I don't need it. And now I'm going to select those peak lines again and I'm going to use the move tool and I'm going to click and I'm going to start to pull up. When I start to pull up, I'm going to just tap the up arrow key on my keyboard to lock it into the blue axis. I'm going to pull it up. You guys can look and see how high you think it should be. Keep in mind we have an extra 6 inches. So if I want the total height of my roof to, let's say, be 4 feet, I'm going to type in 3 feet space 6 inches. If you want a higher roof, you could make it higher. You can experiment because you can always undo. All right, I'm going to hit enter. So now if we orbit around, we can actually see that we've got an open gable there and an open gable there. Now, technically, these are not open gable. This is actually a box gable because this is closed. And I said I wanted an open gable. So I'm going to show you how you're going to do that. I'll show you on one side and then you would repeat it on the other side. Okay. So we know that our overhang underneath here is 1 foot. So if I drew 6 inches, let's say I pulled a guideline from this side 6 inches and matched it here, which is where that would continue around, there would be this weird area under the eave that would be open and it might look kind of strange. So you could do it this way, but I recommend that you box off your eaves, which would be the proper way to actually do this roof. So I pulled 6 inches from the roof down and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This represents, and then notice I'm mousing over here into the corner to drop that guideline. The reason is that we pulled the roof up 6 inches. So whatever number you pull the roof up by, make sure that when you make these side pieces at the angle, make sure you do them the same so that it all matches up. The next thing is we know that the eave is 1 foot off of the wall of the house. So I'm going to pull another guideline and I'm going to pull that out 1 foot on the red axis in this case. Now I'm going to do the other side. Click, drag, type in 1 foot. The guidelines are kind of showing us where we should draw. So now I'm going to take my pencil tool and I'm going to start down here, click, go up to where those guides intersect, click again, go up to where these guides intersect at the peak, and then back down to where the edge of the roof would hit the boxed part of the roof, and then I'm going to come down. All right, so now I've cut this shape in here. It's still a boxed roof, but I want this to be flush with the wall because that's actually what a house looks like. So I am going to deselect that other surface by clicking away. And I'm going to get my push-pull tool and I'm going to select the big face there and I'm going to push it back. And I'm using inferencing here to make it so that that wall is pushed back. So what you have is something that really looks correct for your roof. And now I'm going to just swing over here to the other side and do the other side. Okay, now I'm going to close the roof. I have a chimney here, so at this point I could pull up my chimney. To edit my chimney, I have to actually be in the walls. So I'm going to select the walls. I'm going to double click to go into the edit mode. Next, I'm going to click the push-pull button and I'm going to pull that up, but it's going to stop me there. So I'm going to turn off my roof so I can see, and then I'm going to mouse over this and I'm going to bring it up. Now I'm going to turn my roof back on and I can sort of see how high my chimney should be. Generally, chimneys have to be bigger than the peak of the roof so that the wind can take the smoke away. So I'm just going to pull it up a little here. And then I'm going to deselect. And here is my house with the open gable. If you refer to the handout sheet that's part of this assignment, I have an example of this with the measurements that I used on it for your reference. For the next demo, I'm going to show you how to make a hip roof.